We live in a world of miracles. Look at the giant machines, cutting and transporting 10 of minerals and mines. Take a good look at the planes that are millions of passengers every day, and let's admire. Before the rockets that take us to the stars. These are just some very small examples of proud accomplishments. Modern technology in today's human world. But are you sure that we were the first to know, research and make these things or not? Maybe in thousands of years of history, used to be civilizations can do the same thing. Or in the same time, we've lost a part of it. An extremely important part without even knowing it. If this is true, where does that knowledge come from? Let's find the answer together. First part of the series. The forgotten part of history. Thinking through the length of history. So many civilizations were born, to flourish and then mysteriously annihilated again. All the stories, achievements or evidence left behind by civilizations related to the gods associated with human life. The gods are often described as creators, creating all things. Weather control. Give people the necessary knowledge to survive and grow. I personally think that God is just another name for creatures, not from this earth. Entities that always appear in the most common way. It's coming down from the sky. And the answer to the question of people around the world are wondering about visits of ancient aliens. Great, is there? If that's the case, those people are AI. Why did they come here? Where did they go? Will they come back or not? Maybe there's not a civilization that's affected by the gods, stronger than the ancient Egyptian civilization. It's located 20 miles south of Cairo. It is the city of the dead, contains the famous Step Pyramid. It is also the resting place of King Jose, not known for its sheer size and size. It's famous for its history. This is known as the Old Pyramid, most of the pyramids in Egypt. With over 4,000 years of history, 1,800 mature archaeologists have been carrying out excavations and study an ancient tomb of the Padman, an official, lived around the 3rd century BC, a multitude of burial objects buried with its owner to be found. But among the heaps of antiquities unearthed there's a small wooden pattern that looks like a bird. It's next to a roll of wrapping paper that says, "I want to fly." As usual, it was moved to the Cairo Museum, and they put it in the same place, with models of birds. The model of that year's bird as a very ordinary object. Throughout the next 15 rows, to 1969 Dr. Kalain Messiah, I've discovered something very strange inside the bird model. City of the dead. And the strange thing is that the wings that this model look at it normally. It's easy to see that it depicts a bird, because the bird's eyes and beaks are so clearly visible. There are only wings. It's certainly not the wing of any bird in the world. Looking closely at the model, we'll recognize the wing next to the bird's body, slightly thicker than the tip of the wing. This is the point with the greatest lift. Both wings are thicker near the body and thinning towards the head. This can't be a coincidence. Design is too ideal for a flying device. To this day, we're still using design. Perfect aerodynamics for modern aircraft. It didn't stop there. It shows a very clear rear-wheel drive. And you probably know that birds don't have a rudder tail. Yourself. Already an aerodynamic structure that can control it. So this tail doesn't represent birds. If this wasn't a plane, then at least maybe it's also some kind of Egyptian flying device. Ancient. Prediction is of course never convincing. They've taken the apricot more persuasive. We've got to have practical magnified 5 times to observe its ability to fly. Not out of the forecast, The returned results that's one. Gliders are as perfect as today's gliders. It's completely changed our minds. About what's described about the ancients. It's written in books. They're smarter. There's more technology than we can imagine. More than 7,000 kilometers away from two access, hidden among the old forests of Colombia, is where many treasure hunters believe the legendary golden city of El Dorado exists. For centuries, thousands of treasure hunters pouring in to find the legendary treasures. While the city of gold, no sign has been found in years. Early 20th century, the grave thieves. They accidentally discovered a 1,500-year next to the Magdalena River. This cemetery belongs to the Tolima civilization. Can't have the whole city of gold, hundreds of little gold statues. It was found in this cemetery. Most of the golden statues all take the form of insects and fish. Nothing worth talking about. Those hundreds of statues have goods, things that remind us of an airplane. Find modern science. First time I saw it, they're full of parts from the tail. Tail level. The main wing is very specific. There's nothing in nature that takes the form. It's similar to this. Even that an object shows. Wings characteristic of modern combat. There's no insect in the history of evolution. Give yourself wings on the lower body. It can't be an insect. To prove this conjecture, 1909, two German scientists are Aaron Album and Peter Belting, to start figuring out how to build a real airplane. Based on the simulation of the golden statues, a larger version fully equipped with the grounding and engine operation. Angen Inbom shared that this is a pretty simple job, because we don't have to give any more detail, too much into the model. It was so perfect. It is surprising that the sunflowers come from the Indian over 2,000 years ago. Size and scale so perfect. When zooming in multiple times, you still don't have to cut or add a millimeter of gasoline to the machine. What helped the indigenous people to understand? It's amazing how aerodynamics work. Immediately after completion, a plane with a momentum control off the runway as a matter of course. An extremely successful it shows that applied science has actually emerged from very long. From two halves of the globe, thousands of kilometers apart. We find examples again. It's a testament to the ancient people's level of understanding. They're both perfectly aerodynamic in shape and design. More importantly, they can fly. It would be stupid to say that this is simply a coincidence. The ancient people actually built flying robots. This, or at least see it fly. It's controlled by some entity. You can fly in the sky. It usually comes with smoke and fire. Fly through space and they can only be gods. An extraterrestrial civilization. There are many myths from different cultures that have described about their gods. Like a heavenly man, down to earth on the dragons spitting fire. Many people also believe that myths are often based on something real. The ancients imagined the gods. Or they're just trying to express about something I don't really understand. If you're ready, let's take our imagination a little further. The gods, extraterrestrial astronauts, landed here to reteach the knowledge, science and technology for humans. The development of the team. Our first. To bring the magic with the latest technology that we have. But is the evidence enough to be compelling? About how we've been visited by culture, other names in the past, or not? We're going to visit India together to uncover the mystery of the gods through the indisputable evidence that's been found. India, where more than 1.2 billion people between the modern megacities and the Copacabana slums. It is considered one of the civilization's oldest. Earth comes a series of writings, primitive bibliography of ancient technologies, Sanskrit texts with many different descriptions. but very detailed about the flying machines of the gods. Flying through the sky are collectively called Vimana in the Sanskrit texts. Armor as a kind of machine. Use of jet engines. Very typical. Every time they appear, elephants were running in panic. Gas was pouring because of the pressure from behind the Vimana. This description is similar to a spacecraft. Use of jet engines. Take off a land. And simply think they're myths. Others believe it's modern technology, appeared thousands of years ago. Documents don't just store information about the flying machine, about the materials that make Vimana, about power supply and energy. It's about the pilots. Even carry weapons on Vimana. Mima text Annika Sastra. Given that the Vimana, powered by the foul-shifting pendulum, into the eddy current of Mercury. Do you know it or not? We can do amazing things with Mercury. It's a liquid form. It's electrical and also metal. When you put Mercury in a pendulum, it is spinning. Of the lift effect, anti-gravity effect and also centrifugal light effect. In the ancient texts, Mercury pendulums and drive, or rather a form of, it's called the word energy cake. However, in fact, cake energy lattice system, fold tendency to drain energy quickly in a space environment, itself to be a giant size. Energy lattice cake day, suited to something that's on the ground. Store energy and release it when we need it. To fly, the machine needs something like, maybe people are trying to describe something. It's not Mercury. Liquid that doesn't come from Earth. In a different way. The appearance of the Vimana. It may even prove that ancient people had a transportation network, connectivity, time of Columbus. Today our world is connected by means of transport and the global traditional way. Every inter is always erased in some way. It's not just a geospatial connection. It's the connection of intellectual culture and higher. For example, a Justin Bieber song, It's Raining in North America, made a huge impact in Europe, Korea, Vietnam. Similarity in architecture, to ancient civilizations all over the world. It also shows that, in some special way, through the contact method, trade routes across the globe. There's a mountain in Mexico called Monte Aben. The top of this mountain is cut off in some way. Make it turn into a mountain, flat top like a tabletop, above the plain. An ancient city built of monolithic stone. This extraordinary flatness seemed to prepare for the takeoff and landing of the Vimana. Do you feel familiar or not? When you look at the drawing S and Nazca, or the strangely flat peaks of Mexico's Oaxaca Valley. It's not like runways of us today or Vimanas must also be machines in the global air transport system. It's not just in India, a lot of other civilizations in Africa, and also about how people move in the air through different means. Forgotten part of history, thank God. It's not just South America or India. Evidence that early humans were moving, or seeing machines moving in. It's also found in Africa and the Middle East. According to a scripture, the zebra Nagas of Ethiopia. The Queen of Sheba. He had received a very special gift, a flying carpet from the solo emperor's arse of Israel. Maybe you don't know. Zebra Nagas, a sacred text in Ethiopia. It's very clear from the inside that Emperor Solo used to have access to the flying machine because they don't know what it is. So also from the flying carpet that was used. Maybe you're thinking what I think. Aladdin's flying carpet. It's a high-tech product. The Kepranagas also mention that the Emperor Solo used the flying carpet to travel to many parts of the world. You've set foot in Tibet. The mountains in the world with this kind of magical medium. At some point, is it a map of Emperor buttocks and other ancient maps? Is there a connection? Of course there is. Show us. The world is not like today. It's more like the last ice age. It's hard to explain logically. Go to Google and search for a map. Orontius Phineus or Mercator map. Don't be too surprised. Show the 6-part Antarctica in great and exactly 100 years before the explorers arrived. Mention of the ancient text. Huge omission to ignore the Bible. There's a lot of hidden stories about an unidentified flying appears a little in there. Book of Ezekiel. A flying chariot is an object with casters in it. It's operated by angels. Usually the histories is full of terrifying enemies. Dealing with the Israelis. The image of Ezekiel. It's not wrong at all. It's just that there's something that doesn't quite make sense here. In the description, do you reckon a flying vehicle is not haunted at all, whether it's moving by force or traction? Only if you put the word angel in the fruit. And know that it refers to an energy source from the sky. Then everything is magical. Now the machine is more of a spaceship. When Easy Care encounters something, he knelt down immediately shivering and panicking. And then from the glory of God, a creature in shining metal step-down recliner. It's not a picture of a spaceship, along with astronauts wearing landing gear or sail. While the ancient texts, legends and the stories, that often lead us to rather vague hypotheses. It's hard to explain the tangible evidence. A lot more clarity to the past. It's ours. Have you ever wondered, how did the ancient people move and build massive structures? By stones weighing hundreds of tons or not? Even with today's machines and technology, it's hard for engineers to rebuild a similar building. The archaeologists are adamant ancient people used chisels and copper wires to cut stones. And then they're transported along the wheels. Inclined plane. I personally think that great buildings from these simple machines is absolutely impossible. The ancients needed a different technology that's far ahead of us now. Any one of us, I have heard it at least once. Or see the pyramid recorded in life, a true wonder of the ancient world. It's made of countless stacked stones that fit amazing. But if you get 1 foot to right way, you'll see that it's not just the pyramids, but there's also a place that researchers call the underground temple. You can guess how they're built. They built an underground temple of stone weighing hundreds of tons. Hear it wrong. It's hundreds of tons. Make it easy to imagine. T is equivalent to about 100 small cars. For many years, scientists are just looking for it. Answer to the question, who knows how to move the stones? I forgot another question. That's why people have to use rocks. The stone is so big. It's like you have a problem to solve. You want to find the fastest, easiest way to do it. The Egyptians had smaller stones. You can also cut stones, as archaeologists say. So they're using platforms. The stone is so big that it's hard to imagine what it means. There's only one explanation for this. Simply because they feel there's nothing difficult, a few hundred tons. Maybe with the technology that the hot Egyptians has outstripped us by many years. Of course, those who believe in the alien car, ancient time, quite affirming the great works, was built by space visitors. Maybe ancestors really capable of absorbing and receive the transfer of many advanced technology modern than today's children. There's a very brief and concise record about how to transport these giants as follows. They take stones from the mine. Then the masters, as the ancient Egyptians called them, put something white on a rock. And then they sit up and they push a little bit. Hundreds of tons of rock moving like magic. It can't be magic. It's technology. It's like technology. The gravity that we're studying today. Mysterious technology it's not just about transporting, but also in superhuman craftsmanship. In the world's largest stone factories, right? We need a lot of grinding machine equipment to form on hard rock. The most common are tools that support machine, like a diamond rack, polishing machine and so on. But even with all these machines, so far, place to recreate the things that civilization thousands of years ago. Almost absolute precision stone is the proof to deny of alien technology. Again, back to the Bible. You must have known about the escape, the Egypt of Israel. How did the Israelis survive to find the promised land? In Egypt, the Israelis were treated. Violence is no different than slavery. Later, around the 14th century, the pharaoh, afraid of a population explosion in the Israeli community, he ordered the killing of all the newborn children of the people. Israel was granted. In that dire situation, there's a mother to save his poor newborn son by putting it in a basket and drifting down the Nile. Then the baby was picked up by Pharaoh's royal family. His name is Moses. Come here, maybe some of you have recognized the leader, right? By the time Moses grew up, he discovered his identity. He demanded that Pharaoh release the Israelites. The pharaohs obviously didn't accept this. Moses was forced to lead his people to flee from two. The group crossed the Red Sea into the Sinai Desert. But the Lord poured out his anger on Israel for the crime of idolatry. He forced them to wander in the desert for 40 before being allowed to enter the promised land. Bible says in 45, all the Israelis, they are fed from a single food source. Name is mani. But what manna really is? Oh, one AI knows it's a 5-cup form. It's a kind of food that God gives. Or maybe it's easier to understand. It's a product of modern food processing. When the Israelis decided to flee the two, go to the promised land, surely there are many women and children in the sea. There is no food preparation sufficient to meet the demand of all the row 15 like that. When God saw this, he intervened. Manna came down from heaven to save the people. It seems that a food grain has been brought. The Israelites had to collect eggs, and the next day, on Friday alone, they had to collect twice as much. For the 7th day is the Sabbath, and the grain does not fall. All about manna, in the Bible of Israel, it's just an unclear concept. No AI has enough basis to guess exactly what manna, but another kind of ancient literature offers valuable information about manna. Zohar book, a compilation of religious interpretation. It was written in the 13th century. A book about the Creator who provided manna. So the Creator is human. God or a machine? Details in the book are about faces and brain, strangely of an unusual size, connected through the hose. Next to them are many unusual lights. It's not like any light in nature. To be honest, if this is a description of God, well, that doesn't make sense. From a modern point of view, image is not really God. A machine would be more plausible next to the above description. Proof of this view. Electrical engineers Jack Rogers Sasson. I checked it myself. By creating a manna machine based on ancient texts. Basically the machine when creating has an air intake head to suck what's called the breath of life after the air comes in. God's brain acts as a condensation point. Then steam is incorporated into the algae culture, kind of energy like a powerful laser, accelerate the growth process. Of course, the machine needs energy to operate. Very likely that the energy comes from a weak nuclear. It creates the temperature, better energy than nuclear. Not. To maintain the in line 15 in a row, say the manna machine. In fact, this is a dangerous understands that radiation comes from reaction. How is nuclear harmful to humans? I want the machine to work normally, not to be something to protect the reactive material for it. By chance, the relic ocean in the Bible. It has many characteristics that are very suitable. We have a lot of haunts. It's about the sacred ocean in the Bible. That anyone who doesn't know how to get close to the ocean will pay with death. A lot of people after touching they are all severely damaged. Hair loss, nails, peeling skin. Based on this detail, does not exclude the possible form of radiation poisoning. Ocean relic contained an alien device to provide power to the generating machine, food to feed the Israelis. 45 wonders in the desert. Let's go back to the weird food above. According to the reconstructions of manna, ability is the nutrient-rich green algae, or it's also called the little fish algae. One more piece of evidence from the modern world. Support for this theory. The food problem of space travel has been solved today. Algae are successfully grown. NASA did research in the 70s. Before on this issue. The results show life only needs green algae to sustain it, without adding anything else. If modern astronauts can do that, why don't Israelis? Come here. Many of you will forget the details of Sapat holidays. At Sao once-a-week manna seeds. Don't fall down again. The answer is simple because it's time to clean the machine. It needs to be material-grade maintenance. Clean up after every week. No matter what the real answer is, the Israelis were extraordinary. With 45 journeys outside SA Desert, we've gone through these subtle cuts. Absolutely on Ho Kwon Island. The global transportation, the ancient man's plane. Strange Israeli food. What energy sources helped the ancient world operating these technologies? The answer to a giant energy source also comes from a giant building. Pyramid of Ra. Up to 104, 3.5 million, 4,400 no human works. Beyond this height. Till 1808 when the Eiffel Tower was born. 6th century of new height is broken. There are many different pyramids in the world. Most of them carry a lot of drawings. It's about the purpose for which the pyramid was built. Surprise instead. The Great Pyramid doesn't have an etching tool. The image inside. No one can explain the born for what purpose. Any sense on the inside. Design. Ours you only find narrow paths. You have to get down to move. Then suddenly we're out in the hallway, 9 meters. Some of the rooms inside are made entirely of 100 kilometers around the area. There's no granite. The Egyptian house. They believed in the funerary function of the pyramids. Even though no one's ever found a mummy of a pharaoh. It's not over to build a building. To bury the kings. Is it too ostentatious? This is no different than inviting grave robbers. Flocking in from every. Also a theory that shows actually an ancient power plant. To understand this problem, we need to understand about scientists' wireless generator Nikola Tesla. He sees the Earth as a pole in a capacitor. The ionosphere in the atmosphere is 80 to 800 kilometers to form the second pole. Recent measurements indicate that the voltage gradient between these two poles is about 400,000 volts. If we can control and exploit the distance between these two extremes, have an infinite amount of energy. This is also compatible, like wanting to control lightning in the Dragon Rain. Now on this principle, Tesla said that his invention could provide free for anyone who, unlimited degree, anywhere on Earth. 1809, Tesla said, I finally, very successful in generating electrical discharge. Capacity far exceeds compared to the power of lightning. Tesla believes that by building wireless discharge towers, people anywhere in the world, maybe just plug a wire of some device into the and adjust the frequency so that it resonates along with the frequency of the discharge, that it's possible to get electricity. 1901 from funding for the construction of the communication across the Atlantic. Millionaire MP Morgan. Nikola Tesla, instead of building a community, that built a wireless discharge tower, one in Cliff on Long Island, New York, to implement his idea. Warden Tower. Cliffs are also thought to be built on layers of where the negative ion source oil. It's the shape of an octagonal pyramid. Above, there's a half sphere. Negative charge from the bottom will move upward, accumulates on top of the bridge. It uses a transformer that generates large to stimulate the discharge of the tower. On many nights in 1903, New Yorkers have seen the golden giant artificial lightning, extension 10 kilometers. They illuminate the sky that the people on ships in the Atlantic. You can read the whole newspaper. At night, the waves create from my power generator will be the largest energy wells on the planet, Nikola Tesla said. The process of tower deployed the scientists' golden cliff. It was stopped when MP Morgan discovered Tesla's true intent. However, you continue silently to do my experiments in the above project, the Great Pyramid, completely qualified to become a power plant. The layer of the pyramid is made up of white limestone, which gives it good electrical insulation, blocking the power inside, loss outside. The stones are so tightly packed that not even a land knife can get in Egypt. Crystal insulating property that allows control the current generated inside. The pyramid is not just that. Of the pyramid uses contains small amounts of crystal. Two important components optimize the transfer of In addition to the tunnels built inside it's made of granite. It is slightly radioactive, ionizing the air inside. Which makes the pyramid look like an with conductive inner core and insulating outer shell. Military pyramid is built on top of the underground limestone layer, and the space between them contains a lot of pushing groundwater to the surface. These hydrated rocks have the ability to topography up above, specifically the large flow of the Nile. As we walk through these cavities, we are able to generate electricity, called physical electricity. Tunnels inside the towers act as conductive water. Granite is charged by physical currents. This means with the materials used and the special construction architecture of the magnetic trong was formed from deep below, transmitted upward. People believe that in the distant high electrical conductivity may be gold placed at the top of the pyramid, where today there's just a void that looks very strange. From the top of the electricity is transmitted by radio built around the pyramid, power supply. Go places. I suddenly had a question. These are proud technologies today, right? It spread around the world thousands of years ago. Welcome to the next part of the forgotten part of history. Come to play at home. I believe that for people who are passionate about UFOs, Roswell was the first name that came to mind. Every time this topic is mentioned, it's a small town in New Mexico. The peace in this small town has been 190047. A farmer reported to the authorities about a ship exploding and fell right on his farm. Very quickly, the agencies from the police press, the FBI was there to investigate. A few weeks later, it was a surprise press release, confirmed the appearance of an alien spacecraft to be given. But for some incomprehensible reason, a day later, the military completely turned its back on the announcement. They corrected that. What we found was simply a crashed weather balloon. Despite trying so hard to hide, on the part of the US military, quickly unleashed a wave of global attention. Of Roswell quickly became famous, become a popular keyword in many conversations. Gradually people default. To mention Roswell is to mention a UFO visit. In hundreds of random surveys that were conducted, more than half of those asked came to Earth. We believe in aliens in the past, or are still coming to Earth every day. What makes so many people believe this theory?